This is John from DROID.com, and in this video I'm going to compare the current top Androids with hardware keyboards available. And those are the Motorola DROID 2 on the Verizon network, Samsung's Epic 4G from Sprint, which is a Galaxy S device, and of course HTC's T-Mobile G2. Today I'm just looking at the keys and sliding mechanisms and comparing and contrasting them with one another. And of course a lot of this is based on personal preference and taste, but I'll do my best to explain my reasoning in a way that will hopefully provide you some information that will help you in choosing your next smartphone. Let's get to it. So here they are, the current best offerings in terms of an Android with a hardware keyboard from 3 different manufacturers and 3 different carriers. Motorola DROID 2 on Verizon, this is the R2D2 model, but it's the same as the DROID 2. Samsung's Epic 4G from Sprint, and HTC's G2 on T-Mobile. So first let's look at the sliding mechanisms, and I'm going to go from my least favorite to my most favorite. The DROID 2 has no spring-loaded system in place. You have these 2 slabs that are basically hooked together by what I think is a tongue and groove design, and if you push the screen halfway down, that's where it stays. It doesn't snap into place via a spring mechanism, although it does kind of click once you finally have it into its resting place in either direction. So in terms of sliding mechanisms, a lot of people like this. It's just pretty much like the original DROID. It's the same thing that turned me off on the original DROID. I don't like that sliding mechanism, and I'll get to the keys in a second. But it feels solid and smooth. You know, some of the complaints that people have about different systems is that they're afraid they're going to break, or that junk is going to get in between the 2 pieces of the phone while it's in their pocket. So if you're worried about dropping your phone and having the sliding mechanism break, or getting, you know, I don't know, lint, tobacco, whatever kind of gunk in between the 2 panels, this actually might be a really good option for you. Me personally, it's just not what I would choose for myself. Second choice in terms of sliding mechanism is the Epic 4G, which is spring-loaded. So if you push it less than halfway out, it just snaps back to being closed. If you push it more than halfway out, it snaps out to being open. So you can just give it a quick flick and it makes the rest of its way on its own. Still, the 2 slabs are right next to one another, but this moves more easily than the DROID 2. I don't know if it's because they're not pressed together as firmly or because of the sliding mechanism, but it just slides, takes less effort to slide it. Not like the DROID is difficult. This is a very smooth and solid feeling. But this one snaps into place. Feels solid. I don't see any problems with, I guess I should say I don't foresee any big issues with build quality. Although if you're pressing down on this top panel, you can feel the bottom edge rubbing against the keys there, which I'm not going to do for a demonstration because I don't want to damage this phone. It's not mine. And my number 1 choice in terms of sliding mechanism is the new G2, which takes a cue from the G1 with these arms on hinges, but instead of swiveling out like that, you can see it just lifts up and away from the base, and you have what, other than the bulk in the back from all the guts inside and the battery, what look pretty much like symmetrical panels that fit together. So there you have the curvature of the keyboard, and then on the top of the screen you have this panel on the back. And so it's also spring loaded, I should mention. So if you get it halfway, less than halfway, it snaps back into place. More than halfway, it doesn't exactly snap all the way into place at the top there. Okay, so it's spring-loaded in the direction of being closed, which is probably good because you want some resistance so it doesn't just flop open accidentally. Although, Noah and Aaron were having lunch today and posted a video. I don't know if I ever would have noticed this, that if you hold the G2 only by the base, meaning not the screen, it kind of hangs there. It's got It's a loose mechanism. Now, you know, I can see why that would be an issue to bring up about build quality. Maybe they didn't, you know, maybe HTC didn't even notice before they went out the door with that. I don't know that I ever would have noticed it, because if I pick up a phone, I'm grabbing the phone. I don't think I'm ever in a situation where I'm going to hold it like this, which it's actually awkward for me to make it happen because my fingers accidentally touch the top. So, you know, that time it's barely, I'm not touching the top. It's barely hanging down. And the way Aaron mentioned it when he posted it, he put the word bug in quotes. So maybe it's much more pronounced on other phones, and therefore more of a potential problem. But with mine, see, now it's not even doing it. There, it did it. That's also depends on how you hold it, because like I said, it's spring-loaded in one direction. If I hold it this way, it doesn't want to go. If I hold it this way, it does. So, you know, up to you if you think that's a detractor or not. Still, for me, that's just cool. I like that. I like the way it feels. It's solid. I don't know. Personal preference, I was a big fan of the original G1, so that might be it. Now I'm going to move on to the keys, and I'm not even going to do a typing test here. I'm just going to talk about what I like and dislike about each of these keyboards. Again, with the DROID 2, I have the same problem that I had with the DROID 1. I don't like that there's no separation between the keys. I mean, you have these little, almost imperceptible grooves in between them. And I suppose if you work hard enough, you might be able to adapt to this keyboard to an extent that you don't need to look at it. I hope I'm not being overly critical here. There's a lot of DROID fans out there. For me personally, I pretty much always look at the keyboard when I'm typing on a phone. But being able to sense what key you're on just by a difference in texture or some separation between the keys is very helpful, because, you know, a lot of times your finger is covering the next letter you want to hit. It's nice to be able to feel it. And with the DROID, you feel it feels to me too smooth. I can feel the bumps of the home keys, and I can feel the arches of each key, the spacing. I can feel that more so than the actual groove between keys. I can feel the arch because the middle of each key is raised up more than the edges. But it's almost imperceptible. It's such a fine variation in the distance from the base beneath the keys, and there's no separation there. So again, the DROID 2 comes in last place for me when it comes to keyboards and sliding mechanisms. Not for me. Might be perfect for you, not for me. Next, again, Samsung's Epic 4G. These keys, I have a personal kind of pet peeve about grid style QWERTYs. The reason I like staggered keys is because it's easier for me to feel which key I'm on. You have differentiation both vertically and horizontally in a way that we're all used to, because we use computer keyboards every day. So, I mean, even if it's subconscious, there's something about a keyboard modeled on the one that we use, you know, every day at work, at home. If you can make that connection with the phone, it's a seamless experience. You kind of forget that you're just typing with your thumbs. The grid style QWERTYs, you know, I've tried to adapt. I haven't tried really hard because I just don't like them, which, you know, is probably a bias, but, you know, that's what these things are all about, right? It's opinion, preferences. The keys themselves are fantastic. I love the way they click. That's my primary complaint, is the grid style. If you like grid style keyboards, these are excellent keys. I have really no complaints about the keys. People who have adjusted to grid styles generally don't need as much separation between their keys as those of us who haven't anyway. It's got the nice D-pad here, very visible. Yellow and black and white are great colors in the dark and in the light. So it's a nice keyboard. I like having the home, menu, search, and back keys here. It's great. And once again, top prize for me goes to the G2. And this might not last, because the HTC device coming to Verizon, that's being referred to by, I think, 4 different names: Merge, Lexicon with 2 different spellings, and I think even Suave. I can't remember. I think that's an old one. That one has keys that are similar to these, but they look like they have more separation, and they're rubbery, which could be a good and bad thing. Sometimes the rubbery keys, you feel like you have to mash them down. There's like no click. You don't really know when you've pressed them hard enough, so you get, you know, thumb fatigue. As funny as that phrase sounds. But anyway, for now, G2 is my top of these devices because you've got staggered keys. I could stand for more separation between them, but it's usable mainly because they're staggered. I honestly haven't used it all that much since my unboxing yesterday because this phone comes with Swipe, and it's a tough habit to break when you've got a good working copy of Swipe on a phone. But yeah, these keys are also nice. They're rounded. The click, I'm not sure if it's quite as nice as the Epic. The Epic keys are raised up away from the, I don't even know what it's called, the background. They're raised up just a tad more from the background, which is nice, and you get this really solid click when you tap them, and they've got a smooth, flat top. These are rounded. I guess that enhances, the ability to feel them when you're moving around with not looking. The click is not quite so solid. I'm getting this. I showed this in my unboxing. I have kind of a weird, it's like a crinkling sound when I move across the keys, and I think it's the plastic underneath the buttons here tapping the side of the channel that they come through. If this one were the Samsung Epics were staggered keys like this, I would probably choose the Epics keyboard over G2 just because of the way they click. They feel really nice. But as it is, overall, personal preference, this one is the easiest to type on of these three. So there you go. G2, Epic, and DROID 2.